Hey everybody, how are you? Hope you're doing well. So, today we're going to talk about the 5 ways that rich people, use debt to create wealth. All right. So, some people are on this debt free journey. However, rich people are interesting because they're not trying to be on a debt free journey. They're actually using debt to build wealth. So, it's a different way of thinking, and it's different from what is given to us in mainstream media, right? So instead of being on this debt free journey, trying to get rid of debt, they are getting debt and using that debt to build wealth. All right. So, kind of different way to think about it. Um, how rich people operate using debt to create wealth. So, we're going to talk about the 5 different ways that this is done. So, first of all, we're going to talk about real estate. So, buying assets. As you know, real estate is one example of an asset. This is one way that rich people create wealth, and they are borrowing the money. So, they're not using their own money, regardless of how much money they have. They could have $1 million in the bank, and they're not using their own money. They are borrowing the money to go buy that real estate. So the real estate is increasing your net worth, it's increasing the equity, increasing the appreciation. And so when you have rental properties, essentially the tenant is the one that is paying off the mortgage. And then over time, you have this increase in appreciation, which is building your wealth. But the key thing here with real estate is that they are borrowing the money to go buy real estate, regardless of how much money they have. I'm borrowing the money to create income producing assets. All right. So that's one way. Another way, HELOCs. HELOCs, home equity line of credit. So using the equity that you already have, maybe you already have a primary home, or and if you have rental property, you can also get HELOCs on rentals. So this is another form of debt that is used to buy income producing assets. And this is the HELOC. And with the HELOCs, you are only making payments on the money that is used, right? So, home equity line of credit, that is another way to get access to the money to go buy income producing assets. You can get HELOCs, like I said, you can get that on your primary residence if you already own a property, and or you can get HELOCs on your rental properties. So something to think about if you own rental properties, that you actually have access to buying income producing properties, looking at your rental property and looking at the idea of getting HELOCs on the rental property, and then in, taking that and then going to buy more income producing assets. So that is another way that rich people make money using debt. That is the HELOCs. Okay, another way is the leverage buyout. Leverage buyout. So this is a little bit less familiar, the leverage buyout. So this is for businesses. So going to a bank, and the bank is going to loan you this money for a business. All right. So you get the money from the bank, then you buy the business, and then you get a loan and repay yourself back. All right. So all of this is debt. The end result is you have this income producing asset, which is the business. So using debt to buy the income producing asset. And this is what people do um, when it comes to business. And it is called the leverage buyout. So that term is a little less familiar. It's a little less familiar to me. Is it familiar to you? Leverage buyout. This is another tactic that people are using, the leverage buyout. So first of all, is the bank going to, when you go to the bank, is the bank going to give you the money for the business? Put that in the comment, yay or nay. The real interesting question, because when it comes to buying um, assets, a lot of people have problems when it comes to the lending. All right. Are they going to loan you the money in the first place? All right. So that is the leverage buyout. And it's interesting because I was reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki. And in this book, it says that banks are more likely to say yes when it comes to buying franchises because they have systems in place. And so I remember reading that. But that is the leverage buyout. You go to the bank, you ask to borrow some money for a business, bank says yes. So you have the money that you borrowed, you go buy your business, and then you get a loan from somewhere else and repay yourself back. And so that's what um, rich people are doing, the leverage buyout. That is another tactic. All right, another tactic, the Burr method. The Burr method. And so this is back to real estate. Real estate is important because it is increasing your net worth. Generally, when people have a high net worth, that net worth is in the property that you own. Imagine that. So the Burr method: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeats. And if you listen to podcasts, then you are very familiar with that term. Do I have any podcast listeners watching me? All right. So you go buy the property, fix it up, rent it out, you refinance, and then you go buy another property. The Burr method. That's another tactic that people use to get rich, and it is using debt. All right. And then lastly, business credit. Business credit. So, business credit, you are borrowing the money to go buy assets. So, in order to have business credit, you have to start some kind of business. It could be any business. And you don't have to be making profit. So, you could be like a brand new business. But what's important is that the structure is set up correctly. So, having your LLC, your EIN, and your website. All right. Using business credit to borrow the money to go buy your real estate or buy any other asset that you may be interested in. If you are interested in business credit and you would like to know more on building business credit, feel free to join this free newsletter in the link below. But just to recap, the 5 ways that rich people make money using debt: you have your real estate, borrowing money to go buy the real estate. You have your HELOC, home equity line of credit, that is giving you money to go buy your assets. The leverage buyout, which is a little less familiar to me, but you go to the bank. The bank says, sure. How much do you want? Then you go buy your business. Then you get a loan and repay yourself back. That is the leverage buyout. Then you have the BRRRR method: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Use that to get rich. Then you have the business credit. So, what is the common denominator in all these tactics that are used to become rich? The common denominator? Anybody? What's the common denominator? Common denominator is debt. Rich people are using debt to build wealth, which is contradictory to what we are taught. Right? We're taught that we need to get out of debt, right? We're on this debt-free journey. Well, that's not how it works. If you are interested in becoming rich, they're using debt to become rich. And that's a whole different thought process, right? So feel free to let me know your thoughts. What do you think? If you're interested in joining the free newsletter and you would like to learn more about business credit, check out the free newsletter below. If you like the channel, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it so that you will not miss an episode. Thank you for watching, everyone. Don't forget, on your way out, hit this like button and keep moving forward. All right. No matter what it looks like, even if it looks like it's going nowhere, keep moving. Eventually, something is going to break through. So keep going, people. All right. And you got to do more than just watch videos, right? You're doing more than just scrolling. Watching videos is good, right? If you are using that for inspiration, especially if you don't have anyone around you that is interested in this wealth journey, good for inspiration, good for motivation, but then you also have to walk the walk. All right. So thank you for watching, everyone. On your way out, don't forget, hit that like button. And if you want somebody to walk with you, I'm right here. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hit that like button. And I will see you on the next video.